like to call to order our first budget hearing for the 2019 calendar year. And today, I believe we'll hear from two agencies as well as our administrator and the deputy administrators. They all look so serious. They're ready to go. Ken looks stressed out over this. And trust me, I've been through way worse budget situations than this. It's not that bad. Nonetheless, we'll begin, I believe, with the opening from our administrator. We're going to hear from the Office of Aging as well as Jobs and Family Services. If there are no comments or questions before we begin from my colleagues, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Administrator.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here with Deputy Administrators to present the budget for 2019. I'm Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator, and I'm pleased to present to the Board of Commissioners today the 2019 recommended budget for Franklin County. Under the Commissioners' leadership, we present a budget that is fiscally responsible and builds the foundation for the future of our communities. As you will see today, the initiatives supported by the budget reflect our commitment to the residents of Franklin County. Whether it's access to quality child care, opportunities for economic mobility for all people, maintaining public safety, or forward-focused government operations. The 2019 recommended budget presents a fiscally strong and sustainable Franklin County. It is structurally balanced without the use of cash reserves, preserves service levels in critical health and human services agencies, and protects the county's stellar bond rating. As you know, this summer the county issued sales tax backed revenue bonds, which received the first ever double AAA rating in the nation. This is an accomplishment that the Board of Commissioners should be extremely proud of, because it was the nation's first and only local government issuance of special tax bonds to ever receive AAA ratings from both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. At the same time, the rating agencies both reaffirmed their AAA ratings of the county's outstanding general obligation bonds. Like an individual's credit score, a government bond rating determines what interest rate it must pay in return for borrowing money. A higher rate means lower interest rates, which saves the county money. The AAA rating is the highest rating available. In another sign of the county's fiscal strength, the 2019 recommended budget increases projected general fund ending cash balance by 2 percentage points to 42.7% of total 2019 expenditures. This keeps the cash balance amongst the highest levels of other counties rated AAA by Moody's and Standard & Poor's. General fund revenue in the 2019 recommended budget is expected to be $464.4 million, which reflects no change when compared to 2018 projected actuals. Franklin County has been able to sustain general fund revenue as a result of the Commissioner's decision to maintain the 1% sales tax beginning in 2019 in response to changes to the state sales tax on managed care organizations. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services advised state Medicaid directors that taxing a subset of health care providers at the same rate as the state sales tax is not permissible. The 2018-2019 state budget, as enacted in amended substitute House Bill 49, fully replaced lost revenue to the state through a proposed franchise fee on managed care organizations. However, it only provided counties and transit authorities a reduced one-time allocations in 2017 and 2018. Franklin County would have received almost $21 million in annual sales tax revenue from managed care organizations. The 2019 recommended budget reflects the following commitments the Commissioners made when the sales tax continuation was approved at the same time as the 2018 budget. $21 million per year to backfill the loss of Medicaid managed care revenue, $15 million per year to continue additional investments in the county's community partnerships and economic development initiatives, along with an enhanced investment in the county's sanitary sewer system. $12 million per year to cover debt service requirements on sales tax backed bonds for the Franklin County Corrections Center on Fisher Road. $6 million per year to continue subsidies provided to Child Support Enforcement Agency, Department of Job and Family Services, Homeland Security and Justice programs required from the loss of state and federal revenues, as well as continuation of the subsidy to animal care and control. And $5 million per year for capital investments, which include addressing issues related to the county's aging infrastructure. As a result of the one-time allocation in 2018 for the loss of managed care organizations' revenue from the state, interfund revenue is $7 million less than in 2019. This decrease is partially offset by an anticipated 2.5% growth in overall sales tax collections in 2019 when compared to 2018 projections. In addition, investment earnings are estimated at $24 million or $3.1 million or 14.8% more than projected actuals for 2018. As previously mentioned, the continuation of stable revenue in 2019 enables the county to maintain services and address emerging needs in the community without the utilization of cash reserves. The 2019 recommended budget contains $459.4 million in general fund appropriations. During the 2019 budget process that began in May, the Franklin County Office of Management and Budget assessed the budget request of every agency, office, and court within the context of the county's mandatory requirements, statutory duties, and demand for services. OMB's reviews and suggestions were then used by county administration to develop the recommended budget. As a result of this analysis, the recommended budget for the general fund is $10.3 million or 2.2% less than amounts requested. In addition, the 2019 recommended general fund budget for comparable year-over-year operations is 1.8% less than compared to 2018 projected actual expenditures. As shown in the chart, $260.6 million or 56.7% of the general fund budget is allocated to the provision of justice and public safety. Of that amount, $142.2 million supports the Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The remainder of the 2019 recommended budget for justice and public safety includes $79.3 million in the general fund to support the operations of the courts and $33.6 million for criminal and civil prosecution and legal defense services. In addition to the amounts in the chart, the Commissioner's budget includes $340,000 in support of the municipal court specialty dockets and $200,000 for the Guardianship Services Board. While a majority of the general fund addresses justice and public safety, the largest portion of the all funds budget is dedicated to social and human services. The total amount of budget appropriations recommended for all county funds in 2019 is $1.7 billion, which represents a $179.2 million or 11.5% increase from 2018 projected actuals. Of this increase, $93.1 million is related to the construction of the new Franklin County Corrections Center and capital expenses related to improvements at other county facilities. As the largest category in the all funds budget, the social and human services represents 42.9% of the total 2019 recommended budget. Franklin County delivers a variety of social and human services that meet the needs of its residents, which are mostly supported by property tax levies as well as state and federal funds. As seen in the chart, 1/3 of these expenditures are for the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. The board serves over 20,000 individuals with developmental disabilities so they can live, work, learn, and participate in the community. Another $211.7 million, or 28.3% of these expenditures, support the work of Franklin County Children's Services. The agency is projecting to complete 12,000 investigations of child abuse and neglect in 2019. Also within the 2019 recommended social and human services budget are general fund dollars for a mandated share of $4.5 million for programs administered by the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services, a $2.7 million subsidy for the Child Support Enforcement Agency, and $17.5 million for various community partnerships.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. In order to review the 2019 recommended budget in more detail, we will now highlight major 2018 achievements and planned 2019 initiatives of Franklin County agencies. Our first priority is to focus our efforts to meet the needs of the growing number of people in Franklin County. As Ohio's most populous county, our residents represented 11.1% of the state's population in 2017. And over the past 10 years, Franklin County's population has grown by almost 174,000 individuals, or 14.4%. In 2017 alone, we added 22,000 new residents. According to Insight 2050 data provided by the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, the population in Central Ohio will grow 25% between the years 2010 and 2040. In contrast, the rest of Ohio will see a 3% decrease during the same period. As the leading provider of social safety net services, Franklin County is working on a number of initiatives to ensure all residents are provided opportunities to have a good quality of life in our communities. In September 2018, the unemployment rate for Franklin County was 3.8%. However, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the poverty rate for all people in Franklin County was 15.9%, and that's in 2017. Even more distressing are the racial and other disparities in our community. The poverty rate for African Americans is twice the county average, and almost a quarter of all children in Franklin County are living in poverty. As you are aware, an initiative under the leadership of the Board of Commissioners is underway to study the causes of poverty specific to Franklin County and to create a plan to address them with a coordinated community-wide effort. The project's steering committee is made up of community leaders from all walks of life and backgrounds, including faith leaders, academics, social workers, executives, community activists, and residents who have lived in poverty themselves. The steering committee is chaired by Trudy Bartley, Associate Vice President for Community Relations at the Ohio State University Office of Government Affairs, and divided into working groups for studying individual aspects of the challenge and solutions. The project is expected to have several phases, beginning with an analysis of the current landscape in Franklin County and the aspects of poverty that are unique to this community. Later phases will include a study of nationwide best practices, an accounting of resources available locally, and finally, a community-wide plan to marshal those resources to use the right methodologies and address the unique challenges identified. While Franklin County is leading the conversation around the development of a coordinated community-wide action plan to address poverty, it is also focusing its immediate efforts to ensure our children are prepared for a successful future. According to the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services, there were more than 31,000 children enrolled in home and center-based child care programs last year in our county. The Ohio legislature has mandated that all child care providers obtain at least a 1-star rating from Step Up to Quality by the year 2020 if they have clients who receive publicly funded child care. Step Up to Quality is a 5-star quality rating and improvement system for child care providers that is administered by the Ohio Departments of Education and Job and Family Services. Less than a quarter of Franklin County's children were in star-rated programs in 2017. That means if the 2020 mandate were in place today, approximately 23,000 children would need new child care providers, and more than 10,000 working parents would need to drop everything to find a star-rated provider to care for them. The economic impacts of the mandate reach much further than that. Many home and center-based child care operators are small business owners who struggle to support their own families, let alone retain staff, if they are barred from accepting children covered by publicly funded child care. So, the 2020 Step Up to Quality deadline is not just an early childhood education issue, it's a workforce issue. Recognizing that, Franklin County Job and Family Services has invested more than $1 million to develop and implement an innovative, multifaceted strategy to help meet those mandates, including identifying what communities have the greatest deficit of star-rated providers, conducting surveys and focus groups with both parents and providers, increasing engagement with child care providers regarding the benefits of being or staying star-rated, developing and offering customized trainings for child care, and engaging with the media and community leaders to raise awareness about Step Up to Quality. To date, nearly 400 early childhood professionals from 150 different providers who serve an estimated 8,150 children have registered or completed Franklin County's free training. 57 of those are high-risk providers who draw down the largest amount of publicly funded child care dollars and serve more than 6,200 children, nearly a third of the children served by the unrated providers. In addition to providing funding to ensure children have access to quality child care, the 2019 recommended budget before you includes $400,000 to support Future Ready Columbus in collaboration with the City of Columbus. No child's future should be determined by his or her zip code. The mission of Future Ready Columbus is that 100% of children in Franklin County will demonstrate kindergarten readiness when entering school. Future Ready Columbus will organize, align, and mobilize stakeholders in this effort to assist children from birth to age 5 and their families. The vision is for Franklin County to become a national leader in kindergarten readiness.
Franklin County is also hard at work to ensure residents have access to critical services such as eviction prevention, health care, and food. Franklin County Job and Family Services has long partnered with local hospitals and other agencies to meet customers where they are and connect them with available resources through on-site case management agreements. In recent years, the agency has become more accessible for customers and houses case managers at agencies like Franklin County Children's Services and the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging. Central Ohio is facing an eviction epidemic with nearly 18,000 filings last year alone. In response, the Board of Commissioners asked Job and Family Services to take a deeper dive into the issue, hold community meetings, and work with stakeholders such as the Community Shelter Board, Legal Aid, and Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority to help identify ways to refocus or redirect existing efforts like the Prevention, Retention, and Contingency, PRC, Emergency Assistance Program to make a greater impact. In addition to updating the PRC plan, which included a higher $1,500 cap and considerations for families in doubling up situations, Job and Family Services began assigning a caseworker to provide assistance a few days a week to residents on site at the Franklin County Eviction Court in November 2017. The move was so well received that the court requested that the agency expand the collaboration to 5 days a week from 8 a.m. until noon. Many of the individuals and families facing eviction are Job and Family Services customers already. Having the ability to apply for an application on site could help prevent or delay their eviction. And if they have already applied for PRC, they can get an up-to-date status on their application, as well as check on other programs like food assistance or Medicaid. Since last year, the agency has seen nearly 900 families and helped 280 avoid eviction and remain in their homes. Job and Family Services is also partnering with Community Mediation Services to explore tenant-landlord mediation in lieu of court action and provide both eviction intervention and prevention workshops. As the human services landscape continues to change, Job and Family Services remains committed to forging new, integrated partnerships across sectors to better meet the needs of shared customers. In the spirit of that collaboration, the agency is pursuing a new partnership with Columbus State Community College that will provide on-site access to case management services for the school's 20,000 plus students, many of whom are low income and come from traditionally underserved demographics. Under the framework of the agreement, the agency will station one full-time case manager on campus to provide SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid, as well as a part-time child care case manager to process publicly funded child care. The case managers will work in concert with Columbus State Student Central, which is positioned as the one-stop shop for integrated services for students. In the same spirit, Mid-Ohio Food Bank is also looking to locate a fresh market on campus, providing students with direct access to fresh, nutritious foods. The on-site case management services, which will be available to members of the public as well as students, are slated to launch in January 2019. As you are aware, the Board of Commissioners Community Partnerships Program continues to address access to affordable health care and nutritious food for vulnerable residents throughout the county. The following are the planned 2019 healthcare initiatives supported through community partnerships. The Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio will provide 1,750 low-income Franklin County residents with 60,000 prescriptions valued at $4.8 million, conduct 7,800 clinical patient assessments, and work with 150 patients, care prescribers, and other members of the healthcare team to coordinate care or provide a clinical intervention. Physicians Care Connection will complete 3,500 patient referrals for medical services, reach 400 patients with preventative, restorative, and emergency dental services, with 50 receiving dentures, and coordinate access for ancillary services for medical appointments, including 1,000 one-way transportation trips, 4,000 prescriptions, and 2,000 interpreter hours for patients. Heart of Ohio Family Health Centers will hire a clinical pharmacist who will partner with family medicine and gynecology physicians to enhance care and help to resolve medication access issues, and strive to assure that 85% of patients with diabetes will have a hemoglobin A1C value of less than 9, 61% of patients will have controlled hypertension, with a maximum of 9% of Heart of Ohio patients giving birth to babies with a low birth weight. Primary One will offer 300 women initial prenatal care during the first trimester of pregnancy, provide 500 women postpartum care visits no later than 56 days post-delivery, and educate 600 women between the ages of 15 and 44 about birth control, and offer birth control for safe spacing between pregnancies. We know that access to healthy meals and good nutrition supports good overall health for our residents. The following are the planned 2019 access to food initiatives supported through community partnerships. Children's Hunger Alliance will serve nearly 344,000 healthy meals and snacks at 105 program sites in Franklin County. An estimated 10,000 unduplicated children will receive after-school meals and snacks, and leverage approximately $850,000 into Franklin County's economy through USDA after-school meal reimbursements. The Mid-Ohio Food Bank will serve more than 300,000 unduplicated Franklin County residents with household incomes below 200% of the federal poverty level, distribute 34 million pounds of food in Franklin County, assure that 24 million of the 34 million pounds of food will consist of fresh, healthful foods, improve the health status of Franklin County residents with household incomes that are at or below 200% of the federal poverty level, who regularly access fresh food via Mid-Ohio Food Bank's fresh food distribution programs. Produce Perks will reach food-insecure Franklin County residents who are also enrolled in the SNAP program with greater amounts of fresh produce, as well as encourage 2,800 low-income Franklin County residents to participate in the Veggie Snaps program and receive $30,000 in incentives using a dollar-to-dollar match up to $20. In 2019, Franklin County agencies will continue to invest in initiatives to address the ongoing opiate epidemic. According to the Franklin County Coroner's Office, there were 520 drug overdose deaths in 2017. This was a 47.3% increase from 2016. The number of fatal overdoses during the first 8 months of 2018 matches the total for the same period last year. In 2018, the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Board of Franklin County joined business, civic, and community organizations to create the Ohio Opioid Education Alliance, a public-private partnership that aims to put more resources into prevention, a multimedia campaign to educate Central Ohioans about the dangers of opioids, and living in the fictional town of Denial, Ohio, launched in June. The Nationwide Foundation played a primary role in establishing the alliance, donating $2 million to a fund at the Columbus Foundation to pay for the initial work of the campaign. Additional Franklin County agencies, such as Franklin County Children's Services and the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities, have become alliance partners. The 2019 budget includes $250,000 in the Board of Commissioners budget in support of this alliance. The 2019 recommended budget for the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Board also includes a total of $22.7 million in all funds for the provision of addiction treatment and prevention services to the county's residents. This is a 12.4% increase over the previous year. The Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs will support residents who are justice involved and seek to overcome their addiction to opioids by implementing a comprehensive plan to expand and enhance access to medication-assisted treatment using almost $1.6 million in Targeted Capacity Expansion Grant Funding, TCAP, from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration over the next 3 years. Additional initiatives by Justice Policy and Programs to address the opioid epidemic include designing pre- and post-release corrections programs to reduce the number of opioid-related overdose deaths of justice-involved individuals, supported by almost $900,000 from the Comprehensive Opioid Abuse Site-Based Program, increasing distribution of naloxone to justice-involved individuals at risk of opioid overdose or living with someone at risk of overdose with funds from Franklin County Public Health, supporting the SafePoint needle exchange programming of Equitas Health, and expanding the use of a mayor's drug court and safe stations model for addicts wishing to enter treatment in Whitehall.
The second priority of the 2019 recommended budget is economic inclusion and mobility. Franklin County recognizes the importance of creating a growth economy that includes shared prosperity among all residents. In July of 2017, the Board of Commissioners hired a full-time small and emerging business enterprise coordinator to increase the utilization of small businesses in county procurement activity and to promote greater economic inclusion of all county residents. The county's SCBE program is a race and gender neutral program that complies with the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code. And while the program is not certifying, the program accepts multiple local, state, and national certifications as proof of SCBE status upon online registration as a Franklin County SCBE. Firms may also self-identify as an SCBE by signing an affidavit approved by the Franklin County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. 2018 served as our baseline SCBE utilization measurement year for county procurement in construction and general purchases, which include professional services and goods and services. For the very first time, the Commissioners set an aspirational goal on a county construction project. Through the development of a formal construction inclusion plan, our newly formed construction inclusion team, chaired by Derek Clay, President and CEO of New Visions Group, a minority-owned government relations firm, and made up of 14 industry and community stakeholders, collaborated together to set an aspirational or desired goal of 12% on the Correction Center construction project. To date, the hard work of the county's project management team, our owner's representative, construction management team, and the construction inclusion team has yielded achievement of 23% committed utilization of local SCBEs. Subsequently, the county's project management team has worked with the construction manager of the new Forensic Science Center to raise the bar and set a 14% aspirational goal on that project, which broke ground just last month. Internal purchases are monitored and measured as well by our purchasing department and our SCBE coordinator. In 2018, BOC agencies averaged 25% utilization of SCBEs on approximately 3,168 eligible POs with an approximate contract value of $7 million, or about 40% of the eligible dollar income. The Franklin County Advisory Council on Economic Inclusion was established by the Board of Commissioners to develop a diverse set of solutions to the challenges and barriers that hinder sustainable access to equal opportunity and to promote equity and economic mobility in the business sector and our workforce. Chaired by Stephanie Hightower, President and CEO of the Columbus Urban League, and Steve Lyons, Vice President and Chief Counsel of the Columbus Partnership, the Council leverages the collective knowledge and diverse experience of 12 local presidents and CEOs, including Huntington Bank, the Columbus Foundation, Smoot Construction, the Columbus Window Company, Fifth Third Bank, New Visions Group, Rev 1, the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio, Regionomics, and Mint Marketing. We are grateful for this council's focus, energy, and passion in developing a set of recommendations for the Board of Commissioners around the collaboration needed to scale successfully tested programs, foster greater diverse business ownership, create more access to the innovation economy for underserved residents, and racial equity. The 2019 recommended budget includes investments to make us more efficient and effective in pursuing our economic inclusion, equity, and economic mobility goals. We will make an investment in software to automate and refine our processes for measuring SEBE utilization with increased accuracy. We will also publish an SEBE directory to help our staff and prime contractors locate and utilize more small and emerging business enterprises. The Commissioners will continue to support economic inclusion partners such as the Minority Business Assistance Center at the Columbus Urban League to provide technical assistance and training, as well as publications like MBE Online to help us increase our reach to small and emerging businesses with contracting opportunities. And lastly, anticipating recommendations from our Advisory Council on Economic Inclusion to include suggestions for new economic mobility initiatives, as well as co-investment opportunities support the scalability of local proven activities, the Commissioners are prepared to continue to be a collaborative leader in this critical initiative. Earlier this year, Franklin County's Building Futures program was recognized with an achievement award from the National Association of Counties. Building Futures is a first-of-its-kind pre-apprenticeship program developed in partnership with the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council and administered by Impact Community Action. The 12-week program is designed to help low-income Franklin County residents and individuals from traditionally underrepresented populations to pursue careers in the skilled construction trades, including electrical work, ironwork, carpentry, painting, plumbing, and more. The program lays the foundation for individuals to build career in the skilled trades and serve as a pipeline to the middle class. Participants receive both soft skills training, including interpersonal skills and financial literacy, followed by hard skills, including safety certification and trade-specific instruction, all while receiving a weekly $250 stipend. They are also connected with other supportive services offered by Franklin County to help address barriers like transportation, housing, and childcare. At the end of 12 weeks, participants complete an entrance assessment to progress directly into an apprenticeship program. Franklin County has provided more than $900,000 in blended TANF, general fund, and PeopleWorks dollars to support 3 classes, the second of which graduated in October. 33 of 39 graduates, 84% to date, have gone on to begin apprenticeships paying a living wage, with some as high as $27 per hour and benefits. For some graduates, Building Futures has been the difference between living in a shelter and sustaining costs for their own apartment. The 3rd cohort is slated to begin later this month. Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services has played a critical role in Celebrate One's efforts to curb infant mortality across Central Ohio since its inception, whether through support of safe sleep initiatives or work to connect eligible women and families with Medicaid and supportive services. The agency also sought to develop career pathways for TANF-eligible customers to obtain good jobs that pay a living wage to move them off public assistance through programs like Building Futures. The new Community Health Worker pilot program in place at the Ohio State College of Nursing aligns with these objectives. The 12-week certificate program provides residents from low-income communities, including Celebrate One's high-priority neighborhoods, with the skills and training to become licensed community health workers. After completing the program, the health workers began paid internships with different nonprofits within high-priority neighborhoods. These community connectors help build individual and community capacity by increasing health knowledge and self-sufficiency through a range of activities such as outreach, community education, informal counseling, social support, and advocacy. Now, these are in-demand jobs that pay a living wage and come with inherent pathways to obtain additional certification and pursue both traditional and healthcare careers, as well as others in nonprofits or private sectors. Job and Family Services is formalizing a partnership with the college and Columbus Public Health on behalf of Celebrate One to recruit, train, and place approximately 75 new community health care workers spread across these cohorts. The agency will provide an estimated $180,000 in TANF dollars to support the pilot through June 2019. The first cohort is scheduled to begin later this month. Using 2019 Community Partnerships funding, Star House proposes to support Star Works, a trauma-informed workforce development program. Star House remains the only drop-in center serving homeless youth in Central Ohio and is the only research-based drop-in center in the nation. Through the Star Works program, youth create Star House branded vases, fill them with floral arrangements, and supply them to local businesses such as Stoff's Coffee. In 2019, Star House anticipates that 1,300 youth ages 14 to 24 who are experiencing homelessness will utilize the drop-in center. More than 70% of clients will obtain employment, and Star House will employ over 50 youth.
Commissioners, as we invest in economic development initiatives, we need to be sure that Franklin County is deploying its program resources in the best way possible to meet resident and commercial needs as new priorities emerge, such as preparing for growth forecast by Insight 2050 and addressing income disparities. In 2018, the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department initiated a strategic planning process that includes two major elements. First, evaluations of economic development and planning programs with a focus on SmartWorks that also includes benchmarking the program portfolio against other communities. And second, the creation of a new strategic plan to guide the county's economic development efforts and provide tangible takeaways to hone Franklin County's economic development focus over the next 5 years. The project is being conducted in a spirit of collaboration with county and regional economic development partners, so it will complement rather than overlap with other research and planning efforts such as Insight 2050, the Commissioner's Poverty Study, and the Columbus 2020 strategy.
With 56.7% of the 2019 recommended general fund budget allocated to public safety, the third priority is smart justice and security. During 2019, the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs will continue the Commissioner's groundbreaking and nation-leading work in smart justice. Justice Policy and Programs will use targeted community alternatives to prison, or TCAP funds, of $1.1 million through June of 2020 to support diversion from jail for frequent misdemeanants, those who cannot afford minimal bail, and those eligible for work release programming, as well as other residents and programs. There are plans to enhance and expand the award-winning Pathways to Women's Healthy Living program into the Pathways Achieving Results Through Change program and expanding its reach to more women as well as LGBTQ individuals, veterans, and populations of male inmates where practicable. With $50,000 from the MacArthur Foundation's Safety and Justice Challenge, Justice Policy and Programs will systematically and holistically address racial disparities among the individuals who participate in the specialized dockets of the municipal court. As part of the Stepping Up initiative, Justice Policy and Programs will use proven methods of reducing unnecessary jail stays and days by progressively employing strategies regarding alternatives to bail, pretrial screening and assessment, diversion of the mentally ill and addicted to crisis stabilization, enhancing court notification systems, and more comprehensively creating pre-release transition plans from prison, jail, and juvenile detention. The peer support network will be expanded to serve more justice-involved residents who have participated in reentry and re-engagement programming and are transitioning back into their communities. The new Franklin County Reentry Advisory Board will evaluate the role of reentry programming, education, engagement, and resources by continuing to raise the awareness and emphasis in the community of the need for active engagement and inclusion of residents returning from incarceration. As the county continues to implement smart justice initiatives for justice-involved individuals, we must also ensure the safety of the employees and residents who seek services in our facilities every day. The Franklin County Public Facilities Management, PFM, has collaborated with the Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court and Pizzuti Solutions to enhance security for court staff and visitors on floors 3 through 6 of the Franklin County Office Tower and at the Juvenile Detention Center. The initial security enhancement project includes installing a total of 40 access control doors, 39 new panic alarms, and 81 cameras. The total cost is approximately $750,000 and will be completed by early 2019. Additionally, as part of the planned construction for the court, PFM and Pizzuti will install additional access control doors, panic alarms, and cameras to ensure an enhanced level of security coverage in the renovated areas. At Memorial Hall, PFM is currently undertaking a project to replace all existing analog cameras to the current standard of IP cameras to enhance security video coverage in the facility and to improve the video monitoring area for the Sheriff's Office. Additionally, the project replaces the Veterans Service Commission's standalone video system with IP cameras that are connected to the county's video network system, thereby offering both local and remote viewing capabilities. This initial project will be completed in 2018 at a cost of approximately $120,000. As part of this project, PFM has worked with the Office of Homeland Security and Regional Communications and the Sheriff's Office, and has identified additional camera locations for which funding will be requested in the 2019 budget to further expand video monitoring throughout Memorial Hall. In 2019, PFM will also request funding to replace all existing analog cameras to the current standard of IP cameras to enhance security video coverage at the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services East Opportunity Center. This project is estimated at $80,000. Investment in security at Franklin County facilities links us to our final priority in the 2019 recommended budget, forward-focused government operations. In addition to available general fund dollars for capital improvements, some of the proceeds from the previously mentioned sales of sales tax revenue bonds issued in 2018 will be utilized to make physical improvements or repairs to county buildings. Pizzuti Solutions was retained by Franklin County in 2018 to update the facility's master plan. An initial priority of the county was to develop a plan addressing both immediate and longer-term needs of the county. Immediate needs included a roof at the Job and Family Services East Opportunity Center, replacement of the elevators in the Franklin County Government Tower, and expansion requirements for the Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court. The Ohio Supreme Court, as you know, approved the addition of 2 new judges to the Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, with one judge starting in January 19 and the second judge starting in January of 2021. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners approved $5 million in funding for short-term needs, and the court approved the plan developed by Pizzuti, and as part of this initial phase, construction work is currently underway on a new office suite for the visiting judge on the south side of the 4th floor of the Franklin County Office Tower. This work is planned to be completed in 2018, allowing the current visiting judge to move to that new 4th floor office, thus freeing up that original office suite for the existing suite on the 6th floor for the first new judge in January 2019. The remainder of the initial phase of the plan calls for the redevelopment of portions of the floors 4, 6, and 10 in the Franklin County Office Tower. By the completion of this first phase, the Juvenile Probation Department will have moved to renovated portions on 10th floor. Court administration and stenographers will be on the 4th floor, and a new court set, which includes the courtroom, plus associated staff offices, will be completed on the northwest end of the 6th floor. It's a very long-winded way of saying all of the judges will be on the same floor, on the 6th floor in the domestic and juvenile wing. This completes the initial phase and provides for the second new judge starting in January of 2021. In September, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners and Coroner Dr. Ortiz broke ground on the new Forensic Science Center at 2090 Frank Road in the southwestern portion of the county. This new facility will replace the current morgue on King Avenue, which has been utilized since 1975. The new Franklin County Forensic Science Center is custom designed to facilitate the flow of decedents throughout the building to allow staff to process each of their important cases with the speed, safety, and the preservation of dignity. The new Forensic Science Center will be almost 57,000 square feet, making it 3 times larger than the current building, and will include 8 autopsy stations. The new facility is designed to meet LEED Silver and environmental certification, including connections and wiring for the possible future installation of solar panels, which will include plug-in stations as well for 6 electric vehicles. The Franklin County Forensic Science Center is expected to open spring of 2020.
As county administrator, I truly value and appreciate Franklin County's employees. Understanding that Franklin County's success depends upon our ability to attract and retain qualified and committed individuals, the 2019 recommended budget includes a number of initiatives that are intended to improve employee engagement. In recognition of their hard work and dedication to the residents of Franklin County, the 2019 recommended budget includes a reserve for a cost of living and merit adjustment for qualifying non-bargaining employees. This is the second year of the program that rewards high-performing staff. In 2018, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners joined CODA Downtown C-Pass program, which provides a CODA transit pass for each employee as a general benefit at the county. Also in 2018, the commissioners approved a new paid family leave program to allow employees time to provide parental care immediately following the birth or adoption of a minor child and to care for a covered family member who has a serious medical condition. The commissioners reaffirmed their commitment to pay equity by signing on to the Columbus Commitment, an initiative of the Columbus Women's Commission that calls on employers to take action to promote gender and race-based pay equity. Currently in the pilot phase, the Commissioner's Volunteer Initiative Plan is offered to support volunteer activities that enhance and serve the communities in which we live and work. The intention of this program is to create community engagement opportunities for non-bargaining staff that are meaningful, purposeful, and helps those in need. At the same time, the Board of Commissioners recognize that participating in these activities will also enrich and inspire the lives of our employees. Employees are also encouraged to participate in professional development opportunities, such as tuition reimbursement for continuing undergraduate and graduate education, emerging leaders programs, the John Glenn College of Public Affairs Management Advancement for Public Services, MAPS, seminars at The Ohio State University, and the National Association of Counties High Performance Leadership Academy. Finally, as a result of Franklin County's wellness program, the 2019 recommended budget includes a 4.5% increase for the cost of employee health care, while the national average is 8.1%.
Commissioners, the 2019 recommended budget also supports appropriations for the management team as recommended in the Franklin County Animal Care and Control Study completed by the Shelter Medicine Program at the University of Wisconsin. The Board of Commissioners hired a new director and assistant director over this past summer to oversee the department, which includes the Franklin County Dog Shelter and Adoption Center. As recommended in the shelter study, a second assistant director to oversee operations will start next week with the agency. In addition, $500,000 in the Board of Commissioners reserve is available for the new management to implement a number of recommendations over the course of 2019. The recommendations focus on three primary approaches. First, reducing the number of dogs admitted to the shelter to only those that need sheltering. Second, to reduce the length of time dogs stay in shelter by removing barriers to adoption and reclaiming. And third, to increase the quality of housing and care provided to dogs during their stay in the shelter to improve the well-being of both dogs and the staff. The 2019 recommended budget increases the general fund commitment from $2.5 to $5 million for sanitary water and sewer services provided by the Franklin County Sanitary Engineer, while also exploring an innovative and collaborative partnership with the City of Columbus in the future. The results of a joint study funded by both Franklin County and the City of Columbus on the sanitary engineer system are expected in 2019. The 2019 recommended budget includes $9.4 million set aside in the Commissioner's reserves for the Board of Elections, pending the approval of a memorandum of understanding between the BOE and the Board of Commissioners to ensure that the appropriations provided are expended for the purposes that they were allocated. This includes broadcasting nonpartisan public service announcements to inform residents about the new voting machines, Franklin County's early voting center, and other necessary voter outreach and education for the 2019 elections.
Commissioners, after completion of a comprehensive branding process, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners has a new logo. The logo depicts a rising star supported by 3 pillars that represent the commissioners and evokes the design of the county government tower. It represents the notion that our best history is ahead of us. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners is committed to serving, supporting, and uplifting all residents of Franklin County through a lens of respect and human-centered care. We strive to ensure that every resident's needs are met on the fundamental social, wellness, economic, and environmental levels. We are dedicated to constant innovation, sustainability, and progress for the sake of providing the best possible quality of life for all residents. Along with the new logo, we have adopted the taglines, service, progress, excellence, and every resident, every day.
The budget we present today builds the foundation for the future of our growing community. As signified in our new logo, the best of our history is ahead of us. As a result of the Board of Commissioners' vision and action, the 2019 recommended budget secures the county's financial future while adding to the general fund cash balance that supports innovative programming for all residents. As highlighted in today's message, we cannot achieve success without collaboration with other governments, nonprofits, the faith community, and businesses to mitigate poverty, increase access to quality child care, affordable health care, and nutritious food, ensure an inclusive economy, and implement smart justice initiatives. We appreciate the many partners who offer their time and talents to collectively address our challenges and identify opportunities to make our community even better. You are a part of the reason many new residents are choosing to call Franklin County their home. Budget hearings have been scheduled so that an open public discussion may take place concerning the 2019 recommended budget. County administration looks forward to working with the Board of Commissioners as it deliberates and takes action to finalize the budget for 2019. I would like to thank all the elected officials, agency directors for their cooperation and dedication to the residents of Franklin County. Special acknowledgement goes to Zach Telerik, Heidi Hallis, and their team at the Office of Management and Budget for their assistance in developing the budget recommendations. According to John C. Maxwell, teamwork makes the dream work, but a vision can become a nightmare when a leader has a big dream and a bad team. Therefore, I can't conclude this address without giving recognition to Deputy Administrators Eric Janis, Chris Long, and Keena Smith for the support they provide every day in running what I truly believe is one of the best managed counties in America. And finally, I would like to thank the Board of Commissioners for your continued support and leadership. And I conclude, as John Quincy Adams said, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Thank you, and we are ready to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Administrator, Deputy Administrators. What a thorough and comprehensive presentation. Appreciate that. Let me open it up to my colleagues with questions or comments.
I'd like to say thank you to county administration, to the team in budget management. I know this is a year in the making every year as we get to this point, and this overview is critically important to the mix, and with that is all about our residents, and I appreciate that very much, and I know my colleagues do as well. This is about how we interact with our families in the county, and I thank you for that. It's certainly focused on people, and you know, though the numbers are critically important, the people beyond the numbers mean everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys once again putting the residents of Franklin County first in the budget process. I know a lot goes into this, and you guys spend a huge amount of time working on this, and so thank you for everything. Thank you to all the folks in the back of the room. I know you four are sitting at the table and had to go through the process, but I know the folks in the back of the room put a lot of time and effort into this as well. You know, I say this probably every year. I know that a lot goes into making the three of us look good. And some of us, it's more difficult to make look good than others. I was talking about Marilyn. It's a lot easier to make her look good than us, Karen. But
Nice being the only woman here now.
yeah, the only pretty one on the board. But I appreciate all the effort that you guys put in. And there's a lot that needs to be done yet to get this passed, and a lot that's going to need to be done working with our partners going forward. Some of them will be much easier to work with than others, as we know. And so thanks to everybody for all that you do on behalf of the residents of Franklin County.
Well, I think all's been said about the accolades and work that goes into putting together a budget. I mean, it definitely reflects the priorities of our organization. But there are a couple of questions that did jump out to me. I've got many, but I'm not going to do them today because, you know, this is the first time I've seen this document, so it takes me a minute to sort of process it, and so I may have some follow-up, just so you know. But there are a couple of things I just want to get clarified. The first is, so it's my understanding that the projected revenue is $464.4 million, correct?
Correct.
And then the budget, the actual budget of the use of those funds are $459.4 million, correct? Is that correct? Yeah. So that leaves roughly about $5 million unallocated. I didn't hear you mention kind of where, did I miss that?
President Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Brown, that was the $5.5 million that is added to the general fund cash reserves. That represents the cash balance growing to $42.7 million. Is the difference between estimated revenues and planned expenditures.
Right, thank you very much.
That's a
for the
demonstration
clarification.
of the structural balance and adding to reserves.
Absolutely, and if you could, just for those who might be watching and may not know what a cash reserve is, if you could just give a quick snapshot of what that means and why this is important. Going back to the AAA rating that the independent rating agencies give us, and it's really a function of, they don't just look at the debt security that we're issuing for that moment, they look at how we operate in general, and it's a very cumbersome and it's a tough rating to get, but the cash reserves is a key element to that. And so if you could maybe just give, you know, a snapshot of exactly what that is, because and we're putting $5.5 million into it as opposed to allocating to services.
Having strong cash reserves are important for county governments in particular in the state of Ohio because of the impact of county government as it relates to state and federal budgets. Your obligation and dedication and responsibility to the 1.3 million residents of Franklin County does not go away if a particular state line item is reduced, for example. Much of what went into your very detailed deliberations around whether to continue the 1% sales tax rested upon being able to effectively deliver government services to the residents of Franklin County in the face of, for example, the $21 million reduction tied to the elimination of the application of the sales tax to Medicare managed care organizations, and only being able to rely on temporary revenue to hold you over.
So essentially, it's like a savings account, basically.
It is a savings account. Those dollars are unobligated, and they are there, true enough, and when there are cyclical declines in the economy, many governments have to make the choice in order to preserve services and not have a decline in the quality of life. Those are the times where you rely on those reserves, or you have natural or economic catastrophe happens. We don't want that to happen, but we have to be prepared if something like that does happen. That's what reserves are there for in those events.
Ken, Zach, Deputy County Administrators, roughly how many of the 88 counties in Ohio have double AAA bond ratings?
Commissioner, other than us, Delaware County just became the second county of the 88 that was rated double AAA.
So of the 88, there's 2.
There's 2 of the 88, and the number is changing, but we're in the top 2 to 2.5% of all countries in the nation that has a double AAA bond
Of the
rating.
3,069 counties in the United States, we're in the top 2 to 2.5%.
Yes.
And I just said why that's really important. Thanks, Commissioner Grady, for bringing it up. Why that's really important for the public's edification is, A, it allows us to, the AAA rating allows us to borrow at a lower rate, which ultimately long-term saves us money. And even if, God forbid, we had to use those funds, I think what you're saying is that we have been prudent enough over time to where we wouldn't see if a catastrophe, God forbid, happened, that we would be prepared to address it. Because, and why I get it, this is important because there are people who will say to us when we're in the public, you know, we need this, we need that, and you've got this much money in your savings account. Why are you saving money when we need this? And it is a strategic and tactical approach to managing money that everyone uses. It is our rainy day fund, if you will, for the day that, and it will come where it begins to rain, and we have to be prepared to maintain basic level services. And so I just think it was important. I didn't want to overlook that in all of the content that you all provided, because I think it's one of the really important things that often we have to answer for and publicly, but it's sometimes hard to explain when you're facing a problem in the community and you see the savings account we have.
And I think you're right in terms of how you just put that, because we're still, no matter what's going on, we're still mandated to provide certain level of service and certain services. And without that fund reserve, we would not have that ability should the worst in state and federal government funds cuts happen to us, or whatever happens, an economic downturn or whatever. We would not have those reserves available had we not been fiscally responsible
Well,
to do what we did.
and we've been, the one thing is the three of us have been around and we've seen this. Marilyn's been here 12 years, I've been here 10 and a half, well, however long, and I was the clerk of courts serving in an administrative capacity in another office before this. Kevin's been a commissioner for but a few years, but he's served at the state and local level in a multitude of capacities, and so we've been in these decision-making capacities for some time, and we've had the ability to see, all ends of this spectrum. We've been able to manage in lean times, in difficult times, in prosperous times. Yeah. And so we've been around when the rainy day fund has been hit. We've been around when we've had the ability to put money into the rainy day fund, and so these are good. It's great question, Kevin. Thanks for pointing it out and leading us towards this conversation.
And I don't want to, because we do have to hear from two other agencies, and so I don't want to. I think we all will take time to process what we got, and then circle back around before we make our final take our final actions. But I want to clarify a couple other things too. One, Board of Elections and the documents that I've got, and I'm looking at my Dropbox now. Where there is a request for budget, there is a 0 in, and so I wanted to make sure. It's important to go back to one of the comments you made, which was that in the commissioner's budget, we've got money prepared to allocate, but as part of our agency engagement around a number of issues with Board of Elections and the coming elections, we're going to address some commitments, some other things first.
The budget that I'm recommending to you today includes dollars that will accommodate BOE's operations contingent upon the approval of a memorandum of understanding. So the budget that's presented to you today, President Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Brown, would not have to be increased. There's approximately $9.4 million set aside.
I
So
only
that
brought,
doesn't
thank you, Administrator. I only brought that up because I didn't want someone to see the document and say, oh, we're zeroing out the Board of Elections. And so I just wanted to be clear that, you know, there is a budget for the Board of Elections with expectations around some of the work.
That is 100% correct. There is a budget for the Board of Elections, but we need to have an agreement reached between the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Elections in order to transfer those dollars.
Okay. But my final question, for me anyways, is around community partnership programming. An important part of the work that we do, since the way I look at it, and I know I'm the short timer here, but to me, that's some of the core work, because it allows us to be a little more nimble with regards to community needs and things that are happening in this growing county that we have. But I also know that internally we've been going through a sort of revamping process of that. Where does that stand? When will we hear something? What's the next steps with regards, because it's one thing to have money allocated for it, but it's another thing to know how we're going to go forward in terms of our application of those funds, which, by the way, you know, we publicly have to justify in the community, particularly with the extension of the sales tax increase, because it's how we say, well, this is how it matters to you, community. This is why we did that. Here's some things that you can see and touch that, you know, demonstrate how we're using those funds.
President Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Brown, community partners were notified when we entered into the 2019 budget process that this would be a year of transition. In order to give them a period of transition, contingent upon them providing applications that were all in order, that it is likely that we would fund their programs, but they needed to be prepared for a transition to where we are essentially opening the program up to new partners to allow for innovation and opportunities for new ideals to be explored throughout the community in health and human services and economic development and arts and all of those different programs that have been traditionally funded by this board. And I'm also eagerly want to unveil an opportunity contingent upon final approval of this budget at mid-year to have a set aside of up to $1.5 million, which this budget would accommodate for there to be some mid-year ideals brought forward from community not-for-profits.
Innovation allows us to
Yes.
be responsive to innovative ideas and challenges that may not have happened before the allocation process for that. So that's great. That's great.
And I think it's good that you said nimble, because I think it's both provides us the opportunity to be nimble with those funds, and at the same time, if we see an emerging need, we can target something specific. And when we see things that we have funded that no longer seem to be needing our support, we can help those organizations transition to other funding streams in the private sector or somewhere else. But I think that nimbleness is important.
Well, Commissioners, while many things that county government funds are repetitious, are administrative in nature by virtue of our statutory responsibilities, I truly hope that what's being presented today is one of the most people-oriented budgets that has ever been introduced in Franklin County. That was really our focus in crafting this budget. that it was resident oriented. It's not flashy, but it's resident oriented. Taking the dollars, trying to create opportunity for people.
Well, you know, even taking into account the fact that we're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into the correction center, the correction center is frankly as people oriented as you could have we could possibly have imagined. I mean, with the whole direction of that construction and that the programming of that correction center. I mean, it is a whole new concept and design, and it is as forward thinking as could possibly be imagined. And so, I mean, there's no question. I mean, as I looked at this document, and I mean, we've become, Franklin County has become more people oriented, more resident centered. Our new branding and logo talks about it. Every resident, every day. We've just become a place that is more focused on the people of this community. All of us have, and this document is a product of that.
So if you talk to any of the directors under the Board of Commissioners, they all know what our focus is, and it's on people. Everybody has a stake in economic mobility. Everybody has a part to play in mitigating poverty. Everybody has an opportunity to play as far as improving a child's life. Everybody has an opportunity as it relates to helping someone that has had a brush with the criminal justice system reestablish themselves. I think that your leadership and the principles of this board is infused in the directors. And if it's a new director come, it won't be long before they get it as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Great.
Well, next will be the Office of Aging. Just a second to transition.
Hey, Ken, we'll check in with Tyler.